Okay, so welcome everybody. Today is February the 7th, 2021, and it's Super Sunday. It is Super Bowl Sunday, which is pretty cool. And so I know that tonight we may have a little bit less crowd on Zoom, but I told last week no condemnation. So this is a condemnation free Boss Babe Warrior Girl. And so rather than just change it and be behind a week, we decided just to go ahead and go with it. And so I know some of you may be watching this Monday morning or sometime during the week. So I think you're going to really like it. You know what happens when you teach, you learn the most. And when I read this lesson and then I did some research on some things, I thought this is a real issue for a lot of people. And it's an issue. I think everybody at some time in your life has had this battle of complacency. So this is week 5, and the topic is I am active and inspired. And the battle is the battle of complacency. So I'm going to read this verse that's in our workbook from Joshua 13 to 14. It says, when the priests who are carrying the ark touch the water with their feet, the river will stop flowing as though held back by a dam, and will pile up against an invisible wall. Now it was the harvest season, and Jordan was overflowing with all its banks. But as the people set out to cross the river, as the feet of the priests who were carrying the ark touched the water at the river's edge, suddenly far up the river at the city of Adam near Zatharan, the water began piling up as though against a dam. And so, you know what, when you just think about that, I know a lot of you probably have heard that story. You've heard about Israelites crossing the Red Sea and some different things. And so this is in Joshua, the Battle of Jericho, right? And so just think about that. Like he told them, all right, the priests are going to, when their feet touch the water, they still have to be moving forward and trust that they're not just going to walk in the river and get wet and drown. But when the feet touch the water, God's going to do it, right? And so when you just think about that, how those people must have felt when they saw that. I mean, how much they must have felt when they saw that water go up like that. Every time you read it, you just can't, you're just like, wow. So Joshua and the Israelites, they had to take action in order to experience God's miracle of parting the Jordan River. And, I was thinking about different stories in the Bible. And, it is Sunday. I know a lot of y'all went to church this morning or watched it online. But almost, I mean, I want to say all, but I'm sure somebody will probably tell me I'm wrong. But all the ones that I can think of the miracles in the Bible, God or Jesus required that person to do something first. Even like you think about Lazarus being raised from the dead, when Jesus went out there, what did he do? He told him, he said, move that stone. And they're like, no, Lord, we don't want to move the stone. He's been in there 3 days. He's going to stink. He goes, move the big stone. And then he said, Lazarus, come out. I mean, like people had to do something to see it, And there's other times when, even when like the water turned the wine, the first miracle in the Bible, like he could have just went, and then all the jugs are full of wine, right? I mean, why wouldn't he do it that way? But instead, he said, go get new wine skins and, fill them all up with water, as many as you had. They went and got them. And then he turned the water into wine after they did what they were supposed to do. So God always requires us to have action, and we act on faith. Okay. So no action. We always talk about this. There's nothing to bless if you don't do something. And so today and tonight is, I'm active and I'm inspired. And I thought it was a really good training lesson. And I want to just give another shout out to Karen Riddle, my top director girlfriend. And she came up with this workbook, and it's so good, and it can be as good as you want it to be. And it can mean as much as you want it to be. And so the next thing on here, it says, what inspires or motivates me to get into action? I want you to think about that. And I want to look at the chat right here as well. And so if you just put down here, what motivates you to get into action, or what inspires you to get into action? Because there's usually something that does it. And so you can put, okay, someone says, I think the end result, of course, the end result of what you're fixing to do is going to get you, right? That's a great one. Even just think of something simple like, what motivates you to cook dinner? you're hungry and you want to eat something good, right? Or maybe your kids are hungry and you don't want them to be malnourished and defects come take them away. You got to feed your kids. There's something that motivates you to do anything that you're going to do. What motivates you to go to bed early when, like, you have to get up at 4:15 to go to the Y? Well, you're like, I've got to go to bed early because I got to get up at 4:15 because when I get up at 4:15, I got a class at 5. I'm not speaking for myself. She knows who I'm talking about. My bestie Sayla. But you know what? You're motivated because you have something you're going for and you're trying to do. Um, some of the other chats here says usually the support around me and my kids. That's a great one. Knowing how good it will feel when you succeed, exactly, and the sense of accomplishment. Well, sometimes in Mary Kay, the goal is something that motivates you, like you have a goal. And so that's going to motivate you to take action, or a picture of victory. Like you said, the end result, your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I've heard a lot of great stories in Mary Kay of why people push themselves when they don't feel like it, but they keep pushing because they have this goal. Okay. And so, some things that motivate me, I have a Cadillac poster, a goal poster behind me, or on the door, and I see it every day I walk in this office. More than one time a day I come in this office. I look over there and I'm coloring in this thermometer, of my goal to win the Cadillac Plus. And it's not a given that I've won a Cadillac for years and years and years in a row. But you'll see later in the lesson, just because you have done it doesn't automatically mean you get it again. Now, unless you're a national sales director, and then they automatically get that Cadillac every couple of years, but we still have to earn it every single year. And any time in my 32 years as a sales director in Mary Kay that I have thought, oh, well, I got that. That's done. I don't have to worry about that. Anytime I get that attitude, I'm telling you, it bites me. And I think, why do you do that? Don't assume that you're just going to have it just because you've had it before. And we're going to talk about that. So when you are actively inspired throughout your day, how do you feel? So you guys put some actions of how do you feel when you are actively, and inspired throughout your day. Okay. So I want to see some of y'all's chat on that of how you feel when you are inspired during the day and you are taking some action. How do you feel? And then I'll tell you a couple things that I wrote down too. Okay. Nothing can hold me back. Right. It's like you're on a roll, right? Okay. Thank you. I'm focused. I need to do more and more. And when you do a little bit more, then you feel like you can do more, right? So these are very good. And y'all can keep going on there. Some of the ones that we wrote down is energized, focused, that you're making progress, that you're motivated, that you're connecting with people. And I want you to think about if you've ever said to someone, and I know I've said this, and I know Sayla, I talk about Sayla because she and I talk all the time. So, I said, oh, I've just had a great Mary Kay day. Or she tells me, I've had a really great Mary Kay day. Okay. So now she could say, I have had a great day. And a great day could mean anything in our lives, right? But when she says, I've had a really great Mary Kay day, anytime she says that to me, or I've said that to her, then we follow up and say what we did, what action we took that day. I've never said, I had a great Mary Kay day. I watched TV all day and I thought about Mary Kay. It was just so great. Instead, it's normally, I've had a great Mary Kay day. I went up and saw so-and-so at work, and she's ready to get her business back started. I made 4 deliveries. I've made some booking calls. I've got something going on next week. And you're jazzed because you have taken action that day and you've accomplished some things, So I want you to kind of just think about that. It makes you more excited. And you think, especially like if the night before you wrote like your 6 most important things list, and then you actually did them. What a shocker. You did them the next day. And then you're like, I feel good about my day. I wrote my plan and I actually went through and did all the stuff I said I wanted to do. And now I'm going to make my plan for tomorrow. Right. So it makes a difference. So it says, how does having a goal keep me in action? Okay. So what I want to say on this is that there's been times that I have seen in myself and other people, when you have a big goal, that you will do things you never thought you could do, and you might not even ever do them again. For example, let's say you're on the last day of winning a car, earning a free car with Mary Kay. Okay. Earning the use of a car. Let's be politically Mary Kay correct, legally correct. If you're on your last day and you need 5 more people, you're like, I just need 5 more people. I'm not going to not win this car. I just got to have 5 more people. Any other time, if I said, you got to get 5 people today, you go, I can get 5 people. I mean, I'd like to get 1 person. But on that last day, especially in the last few hours, somehow, some way, you get 5 people and you get braver and braver. You call your mom, you might call your sister-in-law, you call your best customer, you call that girl that said, is there any way I can help you? If you get down to 1, I'll be your last person. I mean, you get real brave. And we've talked about this a lot on the Zoom calls, that Selah on the last day of her directorship, it was New Year's Eve. She was here at my house and we started calling people from New Year's Eve parties. I mean, when you're on the last day to finish your directorship and you need a few more people active and people that have said, yeah, well, let me know, just let me know. I mean, you're getting credit cards, you know, out of their Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve party. And she got it done. I've been another sales director of mine on the last day of the month, the last day of her directorship, she needed to activate 15 people. And we just had a marker board. We put the names of the people she already had. We put the names of people that were active and who maybe she could call. And I'm telling you, we got it done. But had there not been a goal, and Mary Kay's pretty smart, right? Because they set goals for us. Sometimes they go, this is how many people you need. This is how long you got to do it. So they're like, you can come up with your own goals, but sometimes there are definitive goals, right? Now, there are not definitive goals on when you move up to be a senior consultant or you are a star team builder or you move up to elite team leader or you move into DIQ. You can take, you know, a month or you can take 35 years to do it. I mean, there's no goals for that. So you have to make those goals your own and you got to own them and like say, this is the goal. Okay. And it could be a sales goal and things like that too, that keep you motivated. This, I am going to do it because this is my goal. Because y'all know when you have no goal, nothing happens, right? So on the next page of our workbook, it says, when I'm inactive, I can easily find myself in the battle of complacency. And what is complacency? What is complacency? So one definition that Karen kind of sent to the directors, and she said, you know, it can lead to failure. I mean, it's similar to being lazy. Often when we get upset with our current situation, but we refuse to work to improve it, never working, reaching potential because you feel it's pointless is the enemy of excellence. And so I just did a little research, as I like to do. I'm different. Okay, on complacency. And this is where, when I told you I learned a lot from this, this is where I thought, I have seen myself in my years and years of Mary Kay fall into this. And I think this is such a good subject to talk about if you've ever accomplished something in your Mary Kay, or if you haven't accomplished something. So there's a different definition I read. I found on it was a website called highwatchrecovery.org, and it was actually for addicts. Okay, and it was talking about being complacent when you are a recovering addict, like a drug addict or alcoholic. Okay, and it said complacency is defined by the Cambridge Dictionary as a feeling of calm satisfaction with your own abilities or a situation that prevents you from trying harder. It says we all become complacent from time to time. We stop pushing ourselves to achieve new goals. We become a bit too comfortable in our relationship. We nonetheless start to perceive that our lives can continue going the way they are without any additional effort. As Isaac Newton said, who was recognized for, he was a physicist, theologian, scientist, widely recognized for his work on gravity, among a lot of other things, explained, what goes up must surely come down. Why is that, right? It says, in a sense, we let ourselves go. It's only natural that after a brief period of abeyance, which is, I thought, what is abeyance? So I had to look it up. It says putting things to the side or putting something on the back burner, okay? We're met with a sudden shock factor. Our lives become a bit chaotic. More problems suddenly arise out of nowhere, and we're greeted with this undeniable sense of confusion of, how did this all happen in the first place? And so I thought that was really good. And so then I looked a little bit more, and this is under briankim.net, KIM.net, and it's the dangers of falling into the trap of complacency. And this was really good, and you had a couple of really good points in here. It says, there's a little saying that goes like this: one of the most dangerous times in a woman's, almost it says a man, or a woman's life, is when she has just achieved a worthwhile goal. After achieving that goal, she should then immediately replace it with another worthwhile goal. Otherwise, she'll start drifting with no direction, and the attitude of, I did it, now what, starts to form, and she comes like a ship lost at sea. And so that, and Mary Kay talked about this. Okay. So Mary Kay had this little saying she used to say all the time on stage. And she would say, don't rest on your laurels. Okay. And I remember in my 20s, I had no idea what a laurel was. And I didn't even understand the whole, I got what she was trying to say, but I didn't understand it, the term. So a laurel, these are like laurel leaves. And back in the Roman times, ancient Greece, they would have these races, and the victor, the person that won the race, they would make this crown of these laurel leaves, and they put it on their head. So a laurel is something that you've accomplished. It's that when you were, achieve something great. And so to rest on your laurels, is saying to be like, you're satisfied with your achievements and not make an effort to do anything else. Okay. And so I thought Mary Kay's been trying to tell us this for a long time. And so under this website, it says, of course, there's a time you should relax, enjoy the fruits of your victory, but not for too long. It's hard to get out of bed when you tell yourself you're going to lay down for just a couple more minutes. And the writer says, I've done that too. And lo and behold, 3 hours have passed by. And once you stay in a place long enough, it gets very comfortable, and then it requires way more energy to get out of that place. And therein lies the well-disguised and placed trap of complacency. And I see that even right now with COVID, we've all been conditioned in this last year about staying at home and not leaving and not going anywhere. And then we almost are like, I don't even know if I want to go anywhere. I don't know if I want to meet a new person and talk to someone face to face. And I'm not trying to get into anything like that about anything. Okay. I'm just saying we all feel it, even though, like, Sayla and I drove down to Florida this weekend to watch leadership conference on TV with a few people. And it's really easier not to go anywhere, just to stay home and watch it, but we made the effort to go, and we were so glad that we did, and it's just like, it's an easy trap to get into. And it says, if you find that the days are becoming more and more alike, you're probably not alone. Routine is inevitable, and people gravitate toward it like moths to a flame. And once you settle down to the daily routine of things, you end up in a cycle that has potential negative side effects, especially in the world we live in today. Change is almost a given nowadays. There's no such thing as job security. The economy is unpredictable. Anything can happen at any given time. But the thing that remains constant is that those who deal with change on a regular basis, as opposed to those who don't, will more likely be able to deal with that change more effectively. And, we have had tons of changes this last year, so we can all really, I think, relate with this. And the ones that don't deal with change very well, they are in a bad way right now, right? They are just they're depressed, and they're just like, when is it going to go back to the same? I like same. I don't like change. But those of us that know you have to change to grow, right? You deal with it a little bit better. It says a very obvious fact, I know, but it goes to show you can't deal with change as effectively if you're complacent, because there's no change to deal with, because when you're in that state, because you never do anything different, right? And it's like someone that comes home from work every single day, eats the same food for dinner every single night, watches the same TV show every single night, goes to bed at the same time every single night, gets up and does the same job every day. And if anything throws a monkey, and like any wrench is thrown into the monkey, or whatever that monkey wrench thrown into the mix, it upsets them, because this is their routine, And so, what was that movie? Rain Man? Is it Rain Man? He like Jeopardy, or whatever it was. And, it is like, you would look at the time and like, I got to watch Jeopardy. We get that way sometimes. We don't want to do anything different. And so it says complacency tends to nip any potential for change in the bud. And as a result, when change occurs, it's a big shock to your system. Furthermore, complacency tends to foster complacent activities. This is going to step on your toes, such as watching TV, playing video games, when that time could be spent growing, whether it be from reading books, listening to like a podcast or a training video, or exercising, or like in Mary Kay, texting or calling for bookings, maybe doing some customer service, maybe like going to the training of the month and watch that instead of watching Days of Our Lives or whatever, So the opportunity costs are great when complacency enters our lives because it's the easy way out. It's the path by default. And so this author was so good. It says, I say ABG. So y'all write that down, ABG. And that stands for always be growing. And I really feel like this last year, I have really grown in a lot of ways, mentally, and just by reading books and discussing books with other leaders. And I have to make myself read. I can read a story. Like if it's a story, I can read it all in one night. I'll stay at 4 o'clock in the morning and read it. But if it's a self-help, not self-help, but like something you have to study and learn and go through, I have to make myself sit down and do it. And, but I have learned so much. And when I do, I'm just feel like you have more to give because you have put something in instead of the same old thing every single day. And so this author said there's so much out there to learn and experience. We live in a day and age where literally we have information at our fingertips, which is so true. We have the means to travel, to try new things, and yet it's as if a curtain has been pulled over our eyes and we only view life through the narrow view that complacency tends to give us. So if you become complacent, it's like stashing your money under the mattress, only to have inflation eat it away. Instead, put your money where it yields some results. And it talks about that. And it says, invest in yourself. If you're complacent, you accrue no interest. Okay. There's no return. In fact, overall, your value may decline. I thought that was a pretty good deal because you think about you're putting your money in a place where it will grow. So you also want to put yourself in a place where it will grow and invest in yourself. It says, how might your value decline? For example, when you're complacent, you tend not to be aware of things that are going on around you and the opportunities that are right in front of your eyes. Some people might go to their jobs day after day without realizing their job could be outsourced in the near future. And they were talking about if you see your career being outsourced, maybe it would be wise to sit down one day and do a little contingency plan or ensure your job does not get outsourced. It's easy to keep doing the same things you're doing, but by doing so, you miss out on signs that are right in front of you. And so in Mary Kay, there's people all around you that you might be missing out on because you don't have a goal and you've got complacent. For example, and I just listened to this and I think it was Loree, I think it was what's her name? Tina France. It talked about the opportunities, and it was a Voxer message she gave that I sent out to my people. And it's funny, I sent it out, but I had not listened to it yet. And Loree says, that was really, really good. I'm like, so I went back and listened to it. But she said, you look for opportunities everywhere. For example, the UPS guy, does he have a girlfriend or a wife that you can send a sample packet home with? Your mail lady, your Uber driver, you can't do Misha because she's already in Mary Kay, but your DoorDash girl or guy, if the guy, does he have a girlfriend? Does he have a mom? Is there somebody, that you could bless somebody with, bless a pampering package with on somebody, the person who checks you in at any given store, maybe somebody in their waiting room, in their doctor's office, the bank teller. But if you're not looking, you're not going to see anybody. You're like, I don't see anybody at all, period. All day long, I never see anybody. But you somehow are getting some groceries at your house, whether you are in an area where you are ordering them online and someone has to bring them to you, or you're actually going to the grocery store. I mean, it don't just magically come to your house without you having to get it, right? So, look for opportunities to make connections with people and don't get complacent that just nothing's happening. And you can see it. Like when you have a goal, I remember when I was on Target, like for my first car, I would go in a restaurant and I would be like, I just really feel like standing up and screaming, anybody want to sell Mary Kay? Anybody got somebody? Anybody want to make some extra money? Can I give somebody my card in here? Because there were so many people around me, but I like I just want to go talk to every single table, right? But then there's other times in your Mary Kay career when you don't have a goal. You didn't even notice anybody in the restaurant. You might as well have been by yourself, right? So it's funny how that is really funny how that is. So back to this article, it says complacency encourages the absolute minimum. It says, why grow when things are going good? Why push the envelope when I don't have to? Why bring elements in that might upset the balance? If you do the absolute minimum and your job is on the chopping block, guess what? More than likely, you're going to be out of a job. Did you take the time to learn new skills, make new contacts, suggest improvements? Doing the bare minimum won't help in getting another job because you're on the same level as you applied for in your old one. So in Mary Kay, if you do the bare minimum to stay in Mary Kay, okay, or I mean, I could go a long rabbit trail with this, but y'all think y'all know what I mean. The bare minimum to keep your 3 people to stay in your red jacket. Why not grow and get 4 or 5, right? I mean, like I don't know of anybody that got 3 recruits and 2 years later, those same 3 recruits have stayed active all 2 years. I mean, usually you've got to get more than 3, right? To be a star team builder so that you can continue. You don't just stop, right? And if you do, you'll end up, they won't all be there, right? And so another side effect of complacency is that you become less likely to take risk. Who's more likely to take risk? The person who's complacent or the one trying to grow every day in every way? I mean, that's an easy answer, right? It's because you've stood in one place for so long, you're afraid to take that one step forward. You end up fearing change. And I put that like underlined and bold. You fear change because you've not moved in so long. And in a society where change is rampant, adapting is a crucial element to survival. And in Mary Kay, we have had to change this year. If we were resistant to change, we would probably be out of the company by now. Because I mean, it wasn't like oh, you can change if you want to. Some areas, if you did not do virtual, you just did not do. And I think there's areas opening up. People are having parties now. But at first, I mean, if you didn't do it, then you just didn't do. I mean, you're not going to move forward. And the ones that decided I'm going to move forward, I'm going to make myself learn this stuff, they have moved forward. It says you always want, I underlined this, and so you might want to just kind of jot this down. It says you always want to have a goal that you want to achieve in front of the goal you're trying to achieve right now. So you always want to have a goal that you want to achieve in front of the goal that you're working on to achieve right now. Because when you do achieve the current goal, which you will, you're going to know you have something to shoot for afterwards. And what does that look like? For a sales director, it might be, okay, I've got a debut with 30 unit members, but my next goal, as soon as I debut, my next goal is going to be to get 50. And then my next goal after that is going to be to get 75 and then 100, as far as like talking about unit size. If you didn't, guess what? If you debut with 30 people a year and don't add any new team members in a year, more than likely, you won't have a unit after a year because everybody doesn't stay in, right? We know that in Mary Kay. And so it's by having that goal right afterwards. And so you may have a goal and say, you know what? Let's just do a real little goal. Let's say I have a goal to have a $300 week. I'm going to sell $300 in a week this week. And then once I reach that, I'm going to up that $100. And then I'm going to have a $400 week. And then I'm going to have a $500, and then I'm going to go for a $1,000 week. Like have those next ones so that you'll always be really improving and trying to improve yourself and not get complacent and take that action. So it says, I've been in a state before when I've achieved a worthwhile goal and you would think it feels great, and it does. It really does. But then an eerie calm begins to settle. You ask yourself, that's it? That's all there is? And you tend to go down paths you don't want to go because there's no kick. You get that drifting feeling again. But if you have another goal you want to tackle, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor much more because there's something else to go for now. So the end of this little article said, snap out of the default path to the complacency. It's easy to be average. It's easy to be average. It's easy to settle. Instead, read a new book, talk to a different person, think a new thought, don't stagnate, expand your knowledge, go the extra mile, If you've been thinking too long that things aren't just right, it's probably a good sign to start growing out of your comfort zone. Don't settle for complacency. ABG. Always be growing. Your new world awaits. And so I just thought those were some super good points for us and Mary Kay. And for me, I mean, you can just think, all top directors, you just because you make a trip one year don't mean it's automatic. Okay, you're good. You don't have to do anything. Don't try to get new people. Don't try to just sit back and collect the check. It just does not work that way. And that's why sometimes you might see people hustling there at the top because they know that they can't just sit and rest on their laurels, like Mary Kay said. They can't. Mary Kay, you would come off the stage, she would shake your hand or give you a hug and say, congratulations, I know you'll beat that next year. Or like she used to say, like the queen of sales, for the queen of unit, like the number one unit at the seminar. Her unit was number one. Mary Kay used to congratulate her, and right there on stage in front of everybody, she'd say, I know you'll be an NSD next year, not on this stage, not on this chair again. Like she would say that, like this isn't a spot you need to go ahead and move on up. What are you going to do next time? And like people used to say, it'd make them mad because Mary Kay would just like, can't we just be happy this one night? Why you got to be such a pusher, Mary Kay? But she knew that what we do as women, and that's why a lot of times you might make a big goal like National Queen's Court of Sales, and you work, and then the whole month of July you take off, and then all of a sudden, and then you don't even have to what you did last year. So, there is a time to celebrate. Mary Kay was all about celebrating and, taking that time. But then you want to just jump right back into it and go, okay, what are we going to do next? Right. So I thought this was a really good point for this. So, of course, we've already talked about some of the dangers of complacency, and it can lead to failure. Once it takes root, it's hard to change courses. It kills your productivity. So you want to write an active or inspired affirmation. And so just a simple one could be, I'm becoming more active and inspired in my Mary Kay business. Just a little, we've been talking about affirmations every single week. And so let me glance over here and see my little chat here. When you're complacent, someone says it makes you feel unfocused. You have no goals, no timeline set. You become lazy. Someone feels like it's pointless in doing anything. And then Loree said, I wish I was not still in quarantine and I could have gone to the beach. I know, Loree. And Christina says, so what's included in the pampering packet if I could only work virtual at this time because of a move? Any ideas? So pampering packet, you guys, I'm just going to answer that real quick because you can do it as simple. One of the things we learned at Leadership Conference, a pampering packet, what was actually some of the women we were with, can be as simple as an envelope with a Time-Wise Miracle Set strip in it, the sample, and a charcoal mask. And is that it, Sayla? Just those two things. And they call it, it was a masking thing. It's just like two little things. And they go through that and that's it. That can be that simple. Or you can do a jam up pampering pack and have, the eye patches, the miracle set, the moisture renewal gel mask, the primer, a color card, a little mascara sample. You can do it from head to toe. So it's just kind of up to you and what you have, but you don't want to let it hold you back of saying, just get you something to send, right? Okay, so the end of this chapter of this lesson is about setting goals and having your daily goal and then the action. You can do this in one or two ways. You can start with your daily goal, weekly goal, 30-day, 90-day, June 30th. Or you can go backwards on your goal by saying, this is my June 30th goal, and then break it down to 90, 30, weekly, daily. Because both ways, up or down and down and up, it's got to equal up. And it's like a consultant saying, I want to be a sparkler and sell $1,200 and order $600 in a month. And then they say their weekly goal is to sell $100. Well, $100 times 4 is $400. That's not going to get a sparkler. That's not going to get the earrings or whatever, right? So you got to look at that and say, no. Or someone saying, I want to be a star consultant. That's what I want to be. I want to be a Sapphire Star consultant. Well, that's $1,800 wholesale, $3,600 retail. And I say, okay, well, what's your goal for the week? Well, I want to sell at least $100 this week. Well, That's great, but 100 times 4 is $400. So your profit is 200. So at the end of a quarter, you will have made $600 and ordered $600, and you're going to be $1,200 short of a star. Do y'all see that? So people just like, you got to look at that. And then the other thing is, someone may say this, they may have the numbers right, but then the activities are wrong. Maybe they say, I want to be a star consultant. Okay, so that means I need to at least sell $1,200 a month, $300 a week. Okay, then I say, okay, well, what is your normal reorders? Well, I usually sell maybe about $50 a week. I'll say, okay, it's great. So you need to sell $250. So how many parties do you want to do a week? Well, I want to do 2 parties a month. It's not enough. I mean, that's not going to work. Do y'all see that? It's not going to work unless your parties are, average $900 parties or what, or 800. Most people, if you just take an average of a $300 party, then you want to have at least one party a week, right? That is if you make 300, that's 150. And then you did that every single week, then that might work. But so you got to look at these activities and they got to match up. They got to match up. And if you don't understand that, that's a good conversation with your sales director to say, okay, this is what I wrote down. Does that sound about right? And then you can look at it, because there's people that actually will say, I'm not going to do parties, but I want to be a star. Well, how much are your reorders? Well, they're about $200 a week. I'm like, well, how do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. Right? So a little simple example could be like, let's say you want to sell $100 every day, $100 a day. Y'all know that's not hard to sell $100 in Mary Kay in one day. Lots of you have had $100 days. We call them grand days. So if you had a goal to have a $100 day, then you would have to decide, okay, so how would I do this? Well, you might look and say, okay, I'm going to call 5 customers a day for service, like customer service calls. How are you doing? Do you need anything? Or, do you like your whatever you bought last week? Just a little checkup call, and also to see if they're low on anything. Okay, so you might do 5 of those a day. You might do 5 booking attempts a day to get some things on your books so you can get some new business, because everybody knows new business. You can make a lot more money if you got new business coming in. So there's just some things that you could do. Or maybe you're like, I want to build a team. So you would say, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to reach out to at least 2 people a day to see if I can talk to them, to set up maybe a little career chat with them, or send them a video or something like that, 2 a day. And then hopefully by the end of the week, if you do it all 7 days, that's 14 people. And even if just half say they'll talk to you, that's 7. So you probably could get a recruit a week by doing that. I mean, you could get 1 out of 7. Most people get 1 out of 5. So 1 out of 7 for sure, right? So you would have to look at that and kind of back up everything you want to do with the activity it's going to take to do it. And even like number of faces and stuff, so if you want to do 2 faces every day, that would get you at the end of the 2 faces a day would be 60 faces a whole month, right? And so that's a lot. But in this virtual world, I know girls, Monique McIntyre, she's in Florida, she's on target for the trip, and she does 30, 40 faces every couple of days. How? She has hostesses, 2 or 3 hostesses. They get all in the same time, and they're on one 30-minute call, And so, I mean, it is possible. It's not like it used to be, where it doesn't take that long, because you can speak to a lot more people at one time. So anyway, you want to take a little time. And if you don't have the notebook, it's okay. You just take a piece of paper and you put daily goal, weekly goal, 30-day goal, 90-day goal, June 30th goal. And then look at that and make sure it all jives, and then that goal is what's going to drive you, and you might want to also say, when I do this, I will make this much money. And what am I going to do with that money? And that may motivate you more than the particular goal, because like, let's say I go, okay, I'm going to sell, I want a $600 profit from my Mary Kay business this month. What am I going to take? If I gave you $600 right now, what would you do with it? And then whatever comes to your mind that you want to do with it, put that down and say, because I'm going to take that $600 cash and I'm going to do this with it. I'm going to go get a new chandelier above my dining room because I hate the one I have, or whatever you want to buy, a new couch, or chair. according to what your tastes are. Anyway, the last question just says, how will my action inspire other people? And, others are going to see your progress. They're going to see your momentum. I see women right now, they're doing great things in Mary Kay. And it inspires me because then I know people because if other people are doing it, then you can too. Because you can't say nobody's booking, nobody's selling, nobody's recruiting when this girl just got 5 new directors in the last couple months, right? And on target for $1.3 or $4 million in Mary Kay. Lorinda King, thank you very much. Over in Savannah, a couple hours from me. So when I see that, it inspires me to know, yes, people will sign up. Yes, people will place orders. Yes, people will buy this product. It really will. So, I want you to really look at that and just, it says this week, I will get into action in my business by what are you going to do to get in action in your business? And really just kind of looking, if you've been in that battle of complacency, you've just been doing the same thing and you just we always say you do the same thing, expect the same different results. That's a sign of insanity. So if you've been a little insane, that's okay. Just forgive yourself. It's a new day, it's a new week, and say, what am I going to do to make a big difference in my Mary Kay career, and in my life. So I would love to have some feedback from some of the sales directors. If Sayla, you want to just pop in, just anything else you want to add to that, because I'm sure you got something to say.
Hey everybody, Cleta, that was great information. And I know for myself, I love to have a goal and work towards the goal. I have found myself like in directorship, kind of waiting for the last minute to make it happen. But what that shows you is that we all can hit the goal, and when we get focused enough and desperate enough, we will do anything. I know that night, New Year's Eve, we were literally calling people. I was calling people that were in New Year's Eve parties saying, hey, not only do I need you to sign up, but I need an order. And so it can happen. I think that you're right. When we get complacent, it's real easy to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And the sun comes up tomorrow. And then we say, well, I'll do it tomorrow, the next day. And what that does, y'all, is it erodes your confidence. If you continue, yes, we are our own boss and we can set our own schedule. But if you continue to put off until tomorrow what you need to be doing today, somehow it's not that your ability gets less, but you think your ability is less, and your confidence just gets lower and lower and lower. So I encourage you to not only set a goal, but set a big goal and do something crazy towards it tomorrow. For me, I like Cleta said, I like to exercise, and I've been doing some different things. But a few weeks ago, I started doing a spin class. And that for me was crazy. I didn't think I'd like it. And really, I hate it and love it at the same time. But it's something crazy different to do. And by doing that, it also gave me a little more confidence in my business. I don't know why, but I just started calling people and getting more orders. That one day last week, I sold like $300 just calling to check on my customers. So just be good to yourself and set a goal and go for the goal. Don't put it off one more minute. That's my word for the day.
So good. So good. Thank you, Sayla. And one of the things I was thinking about is maybe go ahead and say in your mind, let's say you set a goal right now tonight or what you're going to do tomorrow. And then write down a thing that says, if I wake up and I don't feel like doing this, I'm going to do it anyway because, and then why are you going to go ahead and do it anyway? Because just go ahead and know you're not going to want to do it tomorrow. I don't know why. It's the devil. But like a lot of times you don't want to do it.
Yeah. And on that, Cleta, you have to, this sounds crazy, but one of the things I do when I don't want to get up or don't want to go do something, I just pretend like I'm outside myself talking to myself. And I'll say, no, you get up, you are going, you are not staying in this bed, or you are going to make the call. And you have to really, you cannot let yourself off the hook. You really have to, and for me, I just talk to myself and say, no, you get up and you go make the call. You go do whatever it is you need to be doing right now, because I do not want that feeling of regret on the other side of it. So
Yeah, that's good. And that might be a good exercise too. Put down, okay, when I know I don't feel like it, this is what I'm going to do. And then on here say, and if I don't do it, this is how I'm going to feel.
mhm.
This is how I'm going to feel. Worthless, you're a loser, you're a slacker, you don't have any discipline. I mean, like, who wants to feel that way? And then maybe in the morning when you look at it, go, all right, I'm gonna have to do it anyway. And then what happens is when you do it, when you really don't want to do something and you do it anyway, man, that is a good feeling when you're done. No matter how good or bad you do it, at least you tried, you know? Okay, who else wants to share?
One thing I've always heard is the pain of discipline is so much less than the pain of regret. And so I love this, and this could not have come at a more appropriate time for me, because I have been complacent for a week and a half, not really able to get out and do anything. And I'm so eager to be finally feeling better. My affirmation is every day I have more energy than because I've not had any. And so I'm so glad to be on the other side of COVID. And I just want to encourage you that even when you've had some setbacks, my family certainly has in the last 6 weeks, really the last few months. But there's always, if you just push through and then take the steps and do what you need to do, because it's so much more fun when you're running towards a goal. And so, like for me, I've got big goals for the month of February. And even though we've had some setbacks and some miracles we're still praying for, it just gives you can use those things that go on in your life as the fuel to fan that flame and to fan that desire and to create that sense of urgency in you to make things happen when you can, so that you can work when you can, because there are moments when you can't, but I'm just so glad to be able to be out of complacency and be able to actually work. And so it is a joy and it's an honor to be able to do that. And so I just want to, like Sayla said, just go for something big this week. February is a great time to be selling still gifts and things like that for people. But then also, women, like Cleta said, women have been at home for almost a solid year now. And so they do still want to be pampered at home, and they do still want to learn about new things for their skin. They need this Clinical Solutions product, and nobody's got it except us, and they won't even know about it unless you pick up the phone and call them. So, sell one of those every day this week. That's a great goal. So you can do it.
I want to tell you, I have a neighbor that texted me while I was in Florida this weekend. No, excuse me. It was the night before I was leaving, and she said, "Hey, I know it's late, but my sister and I are going on a beach trip, and it's supposed to be raining the whole entire time. Do you happen to have any like scrub or mask or something like that we could do for a spa day?" And she has bought very little for me, like just a few little things, and I'm like, "I sure do." And I said, I'm assuming you want some samples, right? And so I said, because I have like microdermabrasion, mask, I've got some eye patches. I mean, it'd be a lot of fun. And she goes, and so she says, okay, give me all the full size of all that. She goes, and then maybe some samples for them. So she ended up buying $178 worth of products, you guys. And then I fixed up a sample pack, and one of the new products that you are going to be able to order starting the 10th are these super cute little headbands that say Mary Kay. It's like a big bow on the top, and they're gray, and it says Mary Kay. And so I had purchased some of those, and I said, and I'm putting a little extra special thing in there, but you have to promise me you'll take pictures and send them to me. So I got, like, in the packet was what I told you, like, it was packed with everything, like the moisture renewal gel mask, the facial peel, the primer, a look card, mascara, eye card, the repair samples on there, eye patch, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Well, while I was in Florida, she texted me on the way back, and she had a picture of her and her friends. They all had their charcoal mask on. They had their little hair bow, the headband, and they said, "We are loving our Mary Kay Day." They said, we are obsessed with the eye patches. And then she said, I wanted to know if you would be willing for me to have an afternoon at my house and get some people together to do some facials and to match our colors as well. And we all want to place an order, and we're all digging through the Mary Kay book right now. And I thought, yeah, I think I could probably work that in, you know. And this is my neighbor just directly down the street, like a few houses down. And I've been wanting to get with her for so long, you know, like, and so you never know. You just don't give up. And, you know, I'm like, okay, I've lived in this neighborhood for 3 years. And finally, I'm getting some customers. And you know how it is. Like, if she buys, she'll tell her, she's got good friends in the neighborhood. She'll tell her friends. And then my goal is for every single one of them just to come down to my house and get what they need. I mean, they can drive their little golf cart. I can put it in the box. It's awesome. So don't give up on people either. And when you have an opportunity to do something, do it big. Like, don't be chintzy. Give them some stuff to get them excited, just like those little headbands. I mean, they were so thrilled about those, you know. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. So Rosie, did you want to say anything?
Well, I think a lot's been said, the great words of wisdom tonight. I think the biggest thing with a goal is, for me, when I have a goal, there is a greater sense of urgency. Like you said, like when you're going for, especially for a big goal, like a car or directorship or whatever. And the bad part, not bad part, but what you have to be cautioned about is after you reach that goal, at least for me, it's like, oh, we did the equinox, and I want to just sit back for a week and, you know, just enjoy it. But you can't do that, you know. And what you said about having a goal after a goal is so important. And, you know, Janice taught that to me this whole time. And it's kind of finally starting to sink in. And it's just so important. And I'll just remind everybody, you know, Valentine's Day is coming. So what a great opportunity you have. If you have any of the 12 days of Christmas left, that'd be a great Valentine's present for anybody. And so you have a lot of opportunity to sell this month. So get out and do it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I don't know if there's any of the directors on here. If you are, just say something. But otherwise, we'll just wrap it up. I will say this. Last week was the last day of the month. And so I did do a video with all the new products that are available, and it is on YouTube. So if you did not happen to catch it and you want to see a little just like February update with the Mary Kay promotions and the products, it's about 25 minutes or so. It's on my YouTube channel. You can just go over there and watch it, because we didn't want to kind of break with our little training that we're doing with this. So anyway, thank y'all for the comments, girls. And good luck with the Chiefs and the Buccaneers or whoever you're rooting for. And you know what? Tonight, before you go to bed, just make a list of some things you'll do tomorrow. And, you know, it don't have to be, I'm going to make 100 phone calls. Don't sabotage yourself by putting something down there that you know you probably will not do. You know, but put something down there that would be a stretch that you know is possible, but it will be a stretch, because that's going to make you feel really good about yourself. And then you can move forward toward that. So you guys, anything is possible right now. We saw at Leadership Conference, which was our virtual, of course, but there were people that were on target for the trip that have never been on target for the trip. They're the best year they've ever had. And just all kind of stories. One of the nationals was like, I don't like techie stuff. I don't like it at all. And she goes, but I had to force myself to learn because I want to keep up and I want to be, she goes, and I'm a confident national sales director, but you know, I don't love the tech stuff. I don't like the Zoom stuff. She said, but I've had to learn to do it because I want to grow in my business. And so we have to, sometimes we just have to do stuff we don't want to do, but later we're proud when we do it. Later we're proud. So anyway, you guys have a great week. It is a great week for sales. Let's really make some calls for Valentine's Day sales. You guys probably could have $1,000 week this week if you really just kind of text some guys and say, hey, have you bought anything for your wife yet? I got some great ideas for you. They probably go, when is it? I go, okay, it's Sunday and you need to get on it, right? So anyway, you guys have a great one. We are going to have our Boss Babe call next Sunday. I know it's Valentine's Day, but I'm just going to assume that a lot of people are celebrating, you know, on the weekend, but if not, you can always catch it later. So, but anyway, have an awesome one. Next week, the lesson is on, let me just tell you, it is on Oh, I am brave. The battle of fear. So we're just leading up. We're going to cover all our problems by the time we're done, right? We should be like good to go. And if we're not, we got to go back to week number 1 and start over where I am confident, right? And then we got to, so I'm learning a lot and I hope you guys are too. So thanks to everybody for participating.